Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Ralph Michaels and Bryan Leonard. We're going to break down Indianapolis at Oakland. Guys, we got two teams fighting for playoff spots. Oakland, after losing control of their own destiny 2 weeks ago at Kansas City, thanks to Kansas City losing last week, they're back in the driver's seat in the AFC West. Indianapolis is in a dogfight with Tennessee and Houston. What do you make of this one? I'll start with you, Bryan.
This is actually a game that I wrote up at the website, so I do have an opinion on this one. We've gotten a lot of negative thoughts about Oakland because of the way we do things, and they have regressed as we expected. Unfortunately, they didn't regress soon enough for me, as I didn't make any money on them. But I think we finally found a spot here where I like Oakland. I think the line is a little bit short here. Now, Indy's played really well on the road this year. They beat some really good teams, as they did again last week. Minnesota just dominated that game. But I don't trust that Indy defense. And they're going up against this Oakland team who has the best, at least in my opinion, the best receivers in the NFL and a solid running game.
You haven't watched Pittsburgh's receivers?
I didn't even know if Pittsburgh had a football team.
Uh-huh.
But this Oakland team has the ability to put a lot of points on the board here against Indy. I am a little bit worried because obviously, Luck's a great quarterback and he's going to get his. But I think the line's a little bit cheap here. I like the Oakland side.
Yeah, Ralph, you look at Indianapolis last week, and if I tell you Indianapolis puts up 34 points, that's not going to surprise you with Andrew Luck. But if you say they did it against the Minnesota Vikings, you got to say, what the heck happened? Because the Vikings, that defense has been, one of the top 2 or 3 defenses all year. Is it a case of Minnesota just finally the defense has given up on the offense because they've carried the load all year, and or what happened last week? What do you make of the? It's not the norm.
Well, Bryan talked about Indy on the road. Their last 4 road games covers by 21 points per game, so as impressive as you could get. Andrew Luck obviously returning back to the Bay, being from Stanford. I look at this game and I lean towards Oakland because of the situation. They went into Minnesota. Minnesota players, fans, media think once AP said he was going to play, they were going to be back to normal. They still have a lot of issues on that team besides AP missing that time. So that may have even been a hindrance last week where, the offensive line may think AP is behind us. They may do better. So I'm going to throw that game out as an anomaly for Minnesota, and we'll see what happens this upcoming week. But, you got to remember now with people playing on Christmas Eve, you go to Minnesota, you play a physical team. Now you're traveling for the 2nd straight week. You're on a short week, and you're a dog again. I looked up on our database at WagerTalk.com on the sports database matrix, and since 2010, only 3 teams have ever gone on the road as a dog and won by 21 points or more, and then gone on the road as a dog the next time. So 3 times in 10 years that situation has occurred that Indy's in. They're 0-3 straight up, 0-2-1 ATS. So a rare, unique situation, being off a blow-off win as a dog and traveling again. So with the short week, traveling across country, Oakland finally can relax that they have their playoff spot clinched. I do like Oakland as well.
I just want to touch on something that Jim Tressel just said.
It's not red.
It's not red? All right. But the thing about the AP comes back, and they did the same thing. If you remember last year, they would run him on first down every single time, and he'd get maybe 1-2 yards because the opposition knew exactly what he was doing. Now he comes back, and they call the same plays as they did then, which put him behind the 8 ball, similar to where they were last year. They did not learn a thing in the offseason. You've got to be more varied offensively.
Well, I'm going to make it unanimous with Oakland, and as you pointed out, 2nd week in a row on the road. How about 3rd week in 4 games on the road for Indianapolis, and throw in the short week and the physical team? And Oakland runs the football well. Last 3 games, Oakland has gotten a running game going, 139, 135, and 145 yards. We know this Indianapolis defense is not good, and if they got to be concerned with the running game and the passing game of the Raiders, that's going to be problems. I like the Raiders. They had their one bad game in Kansas City, and again, we all talked about it, Kansas City at home, how good they generally are and how frigid the temperatures were that night for the Thursday night game. I like Oakland. I think it should be a high-scoring game. I got them 34-27, so unanimous from the 3 of us. Oakland minus the points. Hey, we will not get any hate mail on YouTube this week from the Oakland fans for once. We all are on the same side. Hey guys, don't forget, weekend all access, $69. You can get your favorite capper, get all of his plays Thursday through Monday, and it's a big week of action. There's football, basketball, bowl games, get it all, $69. Check it out at the site. And if you're new to Wager Talk, after your first purchase of $12 or more, just email support with your username, and we're going to give you a $50 sign-up bonus. That's our way of saying thank you for joining the Wager Talk team. We're going to be back with more videos here at wagertalk.com.